So, on today's episode of the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show, which happens to be episode 794, we are going to be talking to Dr. Sharon Elefant, founder and CEO of the Nonprofit Plug LLC and the Nonprofit Plug Foundation Inc. And guess what? The topic: most nonprofits don't have a funding problem. They have a readiness problem. Ooh, ouch, sting. I know. Stay with us. You want to keep it locked here on the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. It's going to be good. We're going to go ahead and get this ball rolling. And don't you move. We're going to go right into our intro.
Whoa. Why y'all so happy?
You don't know? Sharvette Mitchell is on the radio.
It's time to get motivated, excited, and influenced. Why? It's the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show, live from Richmond, Virginia. And now, here to motivate, excite, and influence you, Sharvette Mitchell.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show, broadcasting live from the capital city of Richmond, Virginia, but heard and seen all across the World Wide Web. And we are super excited for those of you that are like live with us. So go ahead and comment if you're hanging out with us on YouTube. And if you're on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Those that are hanging out with us on a couple places on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, we are super excited as always, because the goal of this show is to motivate, excite, and influence. And we're going to do just that today. Shout out to people already hanging out over in YouTube. Hey, Deborah, welcome. We're excited to see you, excited to have you. Hey, Kim, welcome. Hey, Roberto. Hey, Joe. Listen, my mom gonna always hold it down. Hey, girl. Hey. All right, let's go ahead and jump right on in. And we want to certainly thank our sponsors, Mitchell Productions, our 90-day marketing plan offer. You want to definitely check that out. You'll see all the information on Sharvette.com. You might be listening and hanging out there right now. And thank you to those that are listening to the podcast version of this, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, all the things. So I think y'all are ready to go ahead and jump in. So let me introduce my guest who is waiting in the virtual green room, ready to come up to the mic. And we have Dr. Sharon Elefant with us. She is a nationally recognized nonprofit strategist. Yes. You heard that correctly here. And she is a educator and a community advocate, serving as the founder and CEO of the Nonprofit Plug LLC and the Nonprofit Plug Foundation Incorporated, with over a decade of experience in nonprofit leadership, compliance, financial management, grant writing, capacity building. She has supported formation and the sustainability of hundreds of nonprofit organizations across the country. Dr. Sharon has helped nonprofits collectively secure over $15 million. Yeah, $15 million in funding and managing millions in assets and transitioning founders into paid executive leadership roles. Put your virtual hands together and welcome Dr. Sharon to the stage on the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. Hello, Dr. Sharon.
Hey. God, that was a good intro.
Listen, you're like, who is this? Who is that? All right.
My husband was fine. He was like, okay. I was like,
yeah. Like, yes. Awesome. Wonderful. And again, welcome everyone that is coming on in. And so, like, how did you even get into the nonprofit space? Where did that start for you?
That's such a good question. I love that question. So it was not where I initially started. I grew up kind of in the nonprofit sector, but mostly in the, volunteering was sort of a thing for the family, and grew up with the community. And I grew up on this concept called Tikkun Olam, which means to heal the world. So it was like a framework for our whole family. Fast forward, my educational background is in community and public health. My doctorate's in healthcare administration. I did that. I was a hospital administrator. I did it at the VA hospital system.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's a story for another day.
Another show, right?
Another show. But while I was there, I worked with all the community partners. And it was so much fun just working with them and serving the veterans through nonprofit organizations and other community projects.
Wow.
And I ended up transitioning into nonprofits full time. And when I did that, I was connecting nonprofits to resources, to funding, to partners, grant writing, just, all sorts of just, nonprofits just do everything. And I liked the fact that it was business, but business with a cause. And I was like, oh, how do I make this my full-time info? And people were calling me the plug. I had to clarify with my family, it is not the plug you are thinking of.
Right.
Nonprofits to resources. And that's kind of where the nonprofit plug name really came from. And it just turned into a company. And I now have about 14 staff that serve nonprofits across the country. And my entire team, I can literally say my entire team and I have a blast every single day, just being a support system for nonprofits.
Amazing. So thank you for all of your work. And certainly as a daughter of a veteran, rest in peace, Willie Howard Mitchell, thank you for your work and your service in that area as well. And so, the topic today, most nonprofits don't have a funding problem. They have a readiness problem. And that might be an ouch, and that might be a sting for some people, because they might think it's the other way around. Like, no, I'm ready. I'm just trying to find the funding. And so, right, you're like, So you often say that most nonprofits, again, don't have a funding problem, but really a readiness problem. And so from your experience, having helped, all of these organizations and securing over $15 million, what's the biggest sign that a nonprofit is not ready for funding?
So here's the one that most people don't ever think of, because they do think it's like, oh no, like just give me the money and I'm ready. If I gave you $50,000 today and I said, what would you do with it? And you look at me like a deer in the headlights, you are not ready, my friend. And I know it's an ouch, but one thing that myself and all of my team at the Nonprofit Plug do is we'll reality check a person. Because if you don't accept reality, you are not ready. And if you're not ready to accept reality check from us, you're not out there ready to accept an even harsher reality check from a funder who this actually happened to a client of ours. A funder came into her place, said, what are you going to do with $1 million? They were going to donate it. She couldn't even answer it. She came back to us. She was so embarrassed. She couldn't answer it. They ended up giving her $20K, but missed out on $1 million just because she couldn't articulate. And that's what we mean by you're not ready. Do you have a website? Do you have a professional email address? Not, badkitty69@gmail.com.
Right.
People still do that.
Yeah.
I want to know, do you have, Sarah at whatever your nonprofit name is .org? Do you have a business line? Do you have financials? Do you know what revenues and expenses are? Are you able to articulate my program costs $5,000 and here's exactly how all $5,000 are going to be spent? Good. Do you have impact? Can you articulate your impact? And I'm not saying that you have to be a brand new nonprofit founder and know exactly all of this. Yeah. But this is what I mean when you are not ready at all. And you can't just say you're going to be ready. Like, give me that $50,000 and I'll get ready. That funders don't want to fund that.
Wow, you got to be ready. You can't be getting ready. And this is across the board, right? So you certainly, people hear $1 million, it's like, okay, well, yeah, $1 million, you got to be ready. But 20,000, 10,000, 5,000. Still got to be ready. Still got to get ready. All right. And so certainly with your work and certainly all of the nonprofits that your company, your nonprofit and your organization supports, building compliance, financial systems, capacity. First of all, I think the word capacity, we should define that because sometimes people might not be clear. So what is that in the nonprofit space?
So our firm in the nonprofit space defines capacity as it could be literal capacity, what people thinking of, which is like your staffing. Capacity can also mean your infrastructure, your business infrastructure. Are you operating with a business infrastructure that is sustainable? A lot of nonprofit founders are a one-man, one-woman show, and that's okay in the beginning, but that's not sustainable. Compassion fatigue, burnout, like all that yucky stuff. And so what capacity are you really at? And so when we talk about capacity at the Nonprofit Plug, we're talking about your financial infrastructure, your impact, your staffing, your mindset, your health, your funding. All of that is what we're referring to when we talk about capacity. So literally everything for your entire organization. I don't want people to think it's just a staffing issue. It's not.
Yeah, that's so good. And this is applying if they're pursuing grants or major donors or sponsorships. Are there any distinctions that you want to make amongst those three? So grants, sponsorships, donors.
Yeah, totally. So there's a lot of distinction between all of those. I know everyone is obsessed with grants. So grants are your standard. You filled out an application, you did a letter of interest, or you submitted a long, nasty waste of time form, and you competed against maybe 1,000 other nonprofits, and they select 2 nonprofits to win that grant award. And then there's typically a reporting requirement afterward, and the funds are usually restricted. That's grants. I personally do not like them. There's so much work for the little amount of money that you get and the amount of work that goes into those grant applications. But when one hits. We've got several clients that have gotten a couple $1 million grants, but a lot of work on reporting. So you've got grants, you got major donors, which are by far the best out of all the revenue streams. It's unrestricted funding. You can get the money same day or the next day. You get to build a relationship with someone. They end up becoming a volunteer. They could become a board member. They're just a supporter of life for your organization. Then you've got sponsorships. Sponsorships are usually tied to like a marketing campaign. They can have also a reporting requirement as well and restrictions to those.
Yeah.
And then there's also my all-time by far favorite besides major donors, which is earned income and program service revenue. So that basically means your nonprofit is charging for the service. I know everyone has a hard
time. Like, wait a minute, what? I'm trying to give this all away. I don't want to charge.
And like people are like, but the concept of nonprofits is, like free. Think about it. Childcare programs, after school tutoring, athletic programs, the NFL, hospitals, universities that all have these nonprofit programs are making a lot of money. And imagine if you're providing, we'll just go with tutoring or an after school program or childcare, like those are the most popular. Let's say you're charging for that program and you really do want to serve some families that can't afford it. Your families that can pay the fees, that covers the cost of those that can't. So you're able to expand and serve the community in the way that it really needs to be served and be there for folks that don't have the means to maybe pay for that type of service, but you've got a guaranteed revenue stream, and we like that.
Oh my goodness. This is some good eating, as they would say. This is good right here. Dr. Sharon Elefant, founder and CEO of the Nonprofit Plug LLC and the Nonprofit Plug Foundation. How can they connect with your organization? How can they say, can you work with them? All the details.
Oh yeah. We love working with folks, whether you're a brand new founder or you've had a nonprofit organization 10, 15 years down the line. We handle all levels. Best way to reach out to us is going to our website, thenonprofitplug.com. Book a call with us. Myself or one of our team members will help you out. I'm actually about to give birth in less than 8 days.
Wait a minute, you're pregnant.
I'm super pregnant. If I stood up, my belly would take over this whole screen.
Oh, congratulations.
So I will be MIA for a little bit of time, but I literally have the best team in the entire world that can handle everybody's needs just as good as if I was handling it myself. That is why we are a team. So book a call with us. You'll get one of my team members. I'll be back in a few months, but the nonprofitplug.com, Instagram at the nonprofit plug. We have free trainings on our YouTube channel. We have the Nonprofit Plug University on School. We like to give as much resources as we can, and we would love to work with everyone. Financial management and accounting, grant writing, nonprofit tax filings, all the good stuff.
All the good stuff. Awesome. I love that. And if you're listening to the podcast, look down below in the show notes, and we have the links there for you. Also over on YouTube, look in the show notes, and we have all the information there for you. So, and you touched on this a little bit, but many founders are certainly like very passionate, but overwhelmed by the business side. And so I think sometimes people go into nonprofit work thinking, oh, wait a minute, there's a business side to this, because they're really focused on the hard work. And so how do you help leaders transition from just focusing on the hard work to this kind of sustainable strategic operations without them kind of like burning out?
For sure. So that is the number one trend that we've really recognized, is people who start nonprofits are not business operators. And a nonprofit is the IRS official term for this tax exempt organization, but really it's just a business with a cause. And it needs to be treated as such. Just like that savage mindset people have when they're dealing with for-profits, I want nonprofit founders to have that same savagery with a little empathy mindset for nonprofit organizations. You have payroll, you have program expense, you have impact. You can't impact without money and without business operations. So I know all of you, all of us, we want to save the world. Yeah. Unfortunately, you can't do that without money and business operations. You got to have systems in place. You got to have your financial accounting system. You got to file your taxes. Yes, nonprofits file taxes.
Yeah.
But thank God they don't pay on it. You still got to do these things to protect the business. It's still a business. Not to mention, like you, the founder, I'm sure want a salary.
Absolutely.
Food on your table. So like you got to take care of yourself too.
Yeah. And so I thank you for bringing that up, because literally, like your nonprofit, you should be getting a salary. You should be positioning yourself to pay staff and teachers and coaches or whatever you have. And that's what you should be saying. Some of the things you should be saying when you're talking to sponsors and donors when they're. And so would you say one of the first places people could start is like come up with a budget, like if and at some different dollar increments. I'm giving you a homework assignment, listeners. I'm giving you a homework assignment. Yeah, like different increments. What would I do with 25,000, 50,000, a million, 1.5? What
5,000? I want to know, what would you do with 5,000? Because some people can articulate that.
Yeah. Good. Oh my goodness. What I would love to hear, like some of the types of nonprofits you worked with, like, so you mentioned tutoring, because some people might say, well, I'm in a really niche space and does it really, apply? Can you just name some of, they doesn't have to be their official name, but the types of nonprofits that you've seen this work for?
Tons of different nonprofits in various industries. So we all know mental health, ending homelessness, serving the unhoused community, food and justice, animal welfare. Animal welfare is an interesting one because that could mean like shelters, but it could also mean advocacy for animals, education, how to teach people and youth how to interact with animals. It could also mean things like maybe preventing a family from being evicted because they couldn't pay rent because their dog needed surgery. There's an interesting one because it can mean lots of stuff. Yeah. There's mental health circles and men's support groups. Even I think people don't look at like mental health very like fine tooth, because you as a mental health provider, like a licensed social worker, whatever, you can have a nonprofit and provide those services through a nonprofit as well. Youth-based ones, you can get school contracts, all sorts of like really fun industries. I like to tell people anything that's going to make the community better and serve the greater good is probably on some level under the nonprofit roof of stuff.
Oh, right. There you go. So you can't X yourself out, those that may be viewing and listening. And so you are definitely known for demystifying the nonprofit ecosystem. And so what are some of the common myths or maybe even misunderstandings about funding that keep organizations stuck?
That nonprofits are broke. And let me tell you, because we manage so many nonprofits' bank accounts, nonprofits are not broke. Remember, that term nonprofit just is a tax designation. It's a business with a cause. And some of these organizations, think of like Goodwill and United Way, that are making multi-millions and employ hundreds of thousands of people. I mean, I think it's everyone's dream. Like I could only imagine myself being able to provide an income to hundreds of people.
Yeah.
Like would just be so cool. So nonprofits are not broke. You as a founder can absolutely have a salary. That is okay. There are different accounting and bookkeeping and reporting that we would want to address, but on a high level, absolutely okay to have a salary. And it's also, I don't want to say that it's necessarily easier than a for-profit, but it is in a way, even though you have more tax reporting and regulatory requirements.
Yeah.
To me, because I run both an S Corp and a nonprofit organization, I think a nonprofit's easier just because of the access to opportunities, access to funding, access to support and partnerships, and like funds that you don't have to pay back and things like that. Kind of opportunities. Those are kind of the most biggest things that come up when we talk about organizations, but really it's that nonprofits are not broke.
Okay, hear that loud and clear, listeners. And we have a lot of small business owners that also certainly listen to this show. And so I am always telling clients, like, listen, if you have a service that a nonprofit or not-for-profit needs, they have a budget, so they can hire, and they can't take that money and stick it in their pocket. Like, it has to be operating expenses and accountants, and we have a lot of therapists that listen and watch, and so they've got to spend the money on a budget.
It's really interesting too. That's a really good point for people to understand, is that everyone has to pay for a service on some level at some point in their business career, whether you're a for-profit or nonprofit. And if you're a for-profit organization that provides a service to a business, that business includes nonprofits. So even our firm as a for-profit business, we go after city contracts, we go after county and funding, and of course, nonprofits that pay us for services. So those of you and those of your clients who do have for-profit companies, don't discount the nonprofits. And I don't mean like discount, give them a discount. I mean, like, don't forget about nonprofit organizations, because they need your services too. And they get grants where they can subcontract. We even, in some of the grants that we do, we write ourselves into that grant. So that grant will pay for our line item and our service to support them. But nonprofit grants will pay for mental health providers, coaches.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Dr. Sharon is dropping it. Listen, Dr. Travis, I see you in the comments. I love this. Very informative. And he has a non-profit as well that he is working on. So wonderful. Listen, our time is flying on by. Thank you for mentioning that. And I am validating that, because I am always saying, like, there is budget. Absolutely. And so for the nonprofit listener and the nonprofit leader who's listening in, watching, and they may be feeling discouraged right now because they keep getting no's. Maybe they filled out grant applications, they filled out sponsors, whatever, and they keep hearing no's, or fundraising is stalling. It was working and now it's not working. What are just a couple practical steps that you would say for them to take, like, this month?
So the biggest thing that I can really tell folks is, and this may come off harsh to some, is put on your big girl panties. And I don't care if you're an extrovert or an introvert, especially for those of you introverts, and believe me, I get it. Make a list of 50 to 100 people that you know, and you're going to phone call them. And I want you to do this every single week. And this is what I mean by put on your big girl panties, because I know you don't want to call them. But if you want your business with a cause to succeed, you will call them, and they will either be a volunteer, maybe a board member, or they'll donate. And imagine if you called 50 people and even half of them all donated $250 or $500. There's a chunk of unrestricted revenue right there for you, for your organization. And you just got to constantly do it. And it's like a muscle. The tongue is a muscle. So the more you do it, and you're going to get some no's, and you're going to get lots of rejection. Believe me, I take rejection better than anyone in this world. I've been in the nonprofit sector for so long. I'm like, that's cool. I'm failing my ways to millions. It's all right.
Listen, and you've already garnered 15 million for people, and we don't even know how many no's you had to go through to help.
I get no's every month. I mean, that's the honest truth about business. I get no's every month. I fail every month. I'm a business owner. I'm a full-time entrepreneur. My husband tells me no.
Yeah. Listen. Oh my goodness. Dr. Travis, let me capture this as we wound up. Does this amazing guest do one-on-one dialogues?
We do. Yes. Go to the website, book a call, thenonprofitplug.com.
Great. The nonprofitplug.com. Also check Sharvette.com. If you're listening there, look down below in the show notes. If you're on YouTube, look on the show notes. And if you're in the podcast, look on the show notes. Got a nice, easy, clickable link there for you. Well, I'm telling you what, our time flew on by. I don't even know how we got connected, but thank you. Yeah.
I was like, she looks fun.
Yeah. So the last thing, the goal of the show is to motivate, excite, and influence. And we want to know what continues to motivate Dr. Sharon.
I think what continues to motivate me is both my husband and I are full-time entrepreneurs. He's a professional boxing coach, and I operate as a nonprofit consultant. And I used to hear people say this all the time. I'm like, oh my God, but there was a life where you didn't have kids. But now that we are literally any day, could be today or a couple days away from the birth of our first child, baby girl. That is for sure. Him and I both want to be able to have a life of where we can adapt to her needs and her schedule and be able to raise her and grow with her. You know, I grew up with a mom that was a full-time teacher and a dad that was a firefighter. And my dad was gone for the summers out in the forest, and my mom was busy during the school year, and we just want to be around all the time to be hanging out with her and our dogs and grow our family. And so that's what I think really motivates me right now. Not to mention, there's nothing more motivating than being responsible for the incomes of 14 to 20 other individuals and seeing their happiness and seeing their careers fulfilled too.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you so much again. The nonprofit plug, even if you're like, I don't know if I need this or if just follow, because you just never know. And I'm talking to business owners, I'm talking to nonprofits, I'm talking to business owners who are like, I want to have a nonprofit arm, or, you know, all of the things there. And that'll wrap us up. Well, thank you so much for stopping by. Wishing you much continued success and a healthy, happy delivery.
Thank you very much. So nice to talk to you.
Thank you. All right. It is a wrap for the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. So good. So good. I love when a guest comes on and I'm like, I was telling y'all. See, I told y'all. But I love it there. Again, Sharvette.com. If you're like, oh, I just missed a part of this, I didn't hear all of it. Sharvette.com is the best place. We have a full blog post for our guests, clickable links. You can watch the video. You can listen to the podcast and all of the things right there for you. And you'll see information if you're saying, hey, I'm marketing. And listen, marketing applies to nonprofits, not-for-profits, ministries, and small businesses. And certainly we can help support you with that. Mitchell-productions.com has that information. Or if you're on Sharvette.com, you'll be able to see a picture right to the right. Click on it and learn more about our services. It'll help you market. I love that. Your business or your business with a cause. All right. It's a wrap. We're going to see you all later on the web. Peace and love. Bye.
Live from Richmond, Virginia, you've been listening to the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. Catch Sharvette Mitchell every Tuesday at 6 p.m. interviewing all the stars you want to hear from. So until next week, stay motivated, excited, and influenced. This is the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show.